What is going on? What is going on? Where are you at? How's it going? Are you in the Carolinas? My name's Kent. You are in the Carolinas. Where are you at? What city? I'll tell you how much snow you might be getting. What's going on? What's going on? How's everybody doing? Tell me what city you're in and I'll look it up. What city are y'all in? I'm good. I'm good. I'm really excited about this storm coming in. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? God. How is everybody doing? Where are you located? Are you in the Carolinas? Are you in the Carolinas? Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Are you all in the Carolinas? I think we're going to be put under a blizzard warning really, really soon. How's it going? I have no idea what that is. I have a PS5 and I never play it. I never played PS5, but I have one.
So maybe the snowfall will overperform in Atlanta, and maybe you'll see more than 2. But I think up to 2 inches is a pretty good bet there. Hey, folks, we're almost to 400 likes here on the live stream. So if you want to like the stream, still haven't done that yet, make sure to do so. And subscribe to the channel. Can I pull up a Doppler? Let me see. See what I can do. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Let's see. I'm trying. As I'm sitting here yawning, right? I'm sitting here yawning a little bit. Well, the most accurate information we have here of what's happening right now in Western North Carolina, right at this second, just right there. So if I can, let me see.
It's snowing in Swansboro.
On this beautiful Saturday morning right now. And guys, guess what? This is the last day of January. Where did the other 30 days go already? Already 31 days into 2026, the last day of January. Next January, we'll be talking, it'll be 2027 after today. Crazy stuff. January flew by. January flew by. Now we're going to be moving into February tomorrow on Sunday. Okay, so it's snowing in Swansboro then. So thank you for the update there. That is helpful. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, okay. So it is, yes, it's snowing in the Outer Banks, is what you're telling me. Swansboro, North Carolina, it's snowing. So there's the snow along the coast. So the model is picking that up. You blink, you miss it. It's right there, that little blue little blob right there along the coast of North Carolina and Swansboro. That's where the snow is right now. It's snowing north of Asheville where I'm at. Not a lot, but I've already accumulated an inch or two. Already? Inch or two of snow in the Asheville area? Okay. The HRRR. What did the HRRR show for snowfall there? Oh, wow. Okay. That's the latest 5Z. 5Z HRRR gives Asheville over 6 inches. If you already got an inch or two, that would make sense. Wow, Jim, that's very unfortunate. Sorry to hear about that. That is tragic, to say the least. Never want to hear those numbers ever, right? That's not good. Very, very unfortunate there, Jim. Our prayers go out to our fellow Kentuckians, if you will. The Bluegrass State. I'm from west of Chicago. I live in northern Illinois. Yeah. West of Chicago. Hey guys, we're 40 likes from 400. So if we could hit that 400 mark right now, if you haven't liked the stream, make sure to do so. And also subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Again, we're going to have another video forecast out for you tomorrow at around noon or so. Thank you, Dave McCook, for the $10 super chat. What about Columbia, South Carolina? That's a great question. Let's cover Columbia, South Carolina now. So the Columbia area, we're going to be seeing snow. Let's see the latest data here. We'll look at the data because it's more, because the 6Z hasn't come out yet on the HRRR, so we'll look at the 0Z, but we'll look at the newest data for snowfall that we just that is fresh on the presses here. But we can see the snowfall picking up in the Columbia region up to Greenville. But yeah, Columbia in general around daybreak or just shortly thereafter on Saturday. And that snowfall could come down heavy throughout the morning and into the afternoon. And it won't really be wrapping up in Columbia until about midnight, 11 p.m. or midnight there, going into either very late this Saturday evening or early Sunday morning. So, and for snowfall totals into the Asheville. I keep saying Asheville, and I mean Columbia, South Carolina. We could be seeing anywhere from around 6 to 8 inches. So, looks like a good snow for you there into the Columbia, South Carolina region. And honestly, the snowfall amounts in South Carolina have kind of trended up, and even some areas in northern North Carolina, snowfall totals have kind of trended down a little bit because of that dry air. Not a lot, but some of the snowfall totals in northern North Carolina have trended down a couple of inches. Again, not a lot, but just enough to be noticeable. Yeah, you're welcome, Dave. Hopefully that helped. Kathy says it's snowing in Gatlinburg. Yeah, I saw it on the, there's a live cam on YouTube that was showing that some type of like sky park or something there. It was showing pretty good snowflakes, pretty big snowflakes too. There in the Gatlinburg area. I looked at that probably before the stream, so like 10:30 this past evening. It was snowing pretty good there. So it's been snowing for a couple hours there in Gatlinburg. Would you guys come back to my streams if I do more frequent streams for weather events, for like storms, winter storms, ice storms, severe weather setups, flooding events, Arctic blast, stuff like that? Like, would you guys come back to my streams if I did more frequent live streams in the future? Kind of hang out, kind of late night hang out, especially on the weekends and stuff. Like if there's a storm on the weekend, we can like hang out, Friday night, Saturday night, something like that. Talk about the weather. Appreciate that. Glenn, Kent, Dave, and Kathy. You guys are awesome. So what about Gates County, now North Carolina? Gates County. You're going to see a good 6 to 12 inches. 6 to 12 inches for your area. So anywhere from a half a foot upwards to a foot of snow. And a lot of that's going to come Saturday late afternoon and Saturday early evening. That's where the heaviest snowfall will be, as that low pressure really starts to develop off the coast. And wind gusts could even be over 50 miles per hour there at times. So blowing and drifting snow will be a problem. Snow-covered roads, that's going to be an issue. And so make sure you're staying safe. If you must travel, please stay safe, folks. We're praying for you in the Carolinas and Georgia. If you're traveling, just make it, take it slow on the roadways.
What's going on? I just looked up at the chat. I'm sorry.
Just, send them a text.
Let me look at what Carteret's supposed to get. Jacksonville. 9.7 inches in Carteret. 9.7 inches in Carteret. I don't know if you're still in here or not. .7 inches in Carteret. Jacksonville, let me tell you what you're going to get. Hold on, let me zoom out a little bit. Jacksonville's going to get 10 inches of snow. 10 inches of snow in Well, if you think the amounts are crazy, wait till I tell you that the wind's going to be blowing 60 miles an hour. 60 miles an hour. It's going to be crazy. Yeah, the Outer Banks is going to be 80 miles an hour. 80-mile-an-hour winds for the Outer Banks. That's Jacksonville right there. I don't know if you can see that. That's Jacksonville, North Carolina. 9.6 inches of snow in Jacksonville.
Say that by the middle of February we could see snow again in eastern Tennessee, North Carolina, and upstate South Carolina. What would you say if that did happen? Again, this is going to change
Definitely going to be a
millions and
historic
millions.
storm.
It's showing it at the end of the run, which
Definitely going to be a historic storm.
means there's cold enough air here. GFS model. Let's look at this real quick. What in the world? What in the world is the GFS model doing right now? There's the cold air this weekend. Falling iguanas, folks. Falling iguanas. Falling iguanas in Florida, folks, this weekend, especially Sunday morning. Our temperature anomalies Sunday morning down to Miami could be 40 degrees below normal. That's wild. And then as we go here, we got a moderating trend, a little bit more Arctic air going into the middle of next week. Mild air. Here comes another blast of Arctic air for the Northeast going into next weekend, according to the GFS. And then just what the heck is going on the GFS model? I think the GFS is, wow. Look at that. This is over 300 hours out, so don't take this verbatim. But the GFS model wants to drop the hammer again on the central and eastern U.S. east of the Rockies. Look at this, all this pink and purple. This is Arctic air. Let's see how cold that is here. Oh boy. Yeah, that's some serious stuff. Man, that's showing 70 below zero up in Manitoba. I don't know about that, but GFS model has been kind of wacky this year. That would be insane. 70 below zero in Manitoba. And where is the polar vortex at with this thing? What the heck is going on here? Oh, there it is. There's the tropospheric polar vortex showing up on the GFS. What the heck? Sorry. I don't know what. Okay, so there's high latitude blocking up there near northern Alaska, forcing all the cold air down and around. Wow, that's quite a setup there. And we look at stratosphere now. Well, I can look at that. And the stratospheric polar vortex would be where there's the split, folks. You got one lobe in Europe, like we mentioned, and one lobe over North America. GFS has caught on to that. GFS is more western based though with the stratospheric polar vortex. I think if we go to the Euro is more east based. So there's some bias here. There's a little bit of differences. That's a major difference. That's why the Euro is it's still cold. The European model is cold in the east, but it's not as significant because the stratospheric polar vortex isn't leaking the cold air as much as the GFS, and the GFS is also more western based in Western Canada. So if GFS is right, the stratospheric polar vortex would be working in our favor for cold air source. So now let's look at the precipitation with this now. Again, we're not going to be doing any big forecasts on here. We're just kind of looking at a model, okay? This is just one weather model for fun. A lot of clipper systems coming down through the Midwest there in the Ohio Valley. Oh, boy. Oh, man, why am I showing this model? The GFS is... What is happening? All right, let's do a side-by-side here. What the heck is going on? I'm sorry, folks. We're out of it now. It's late. We're looking at weather models, what I call fantasy land of weather models here. Okay. Well, I get it's far out, but check this out, folks. Let's see. This is at. Oh boy. Oh boy. So this is the GFS, 312 hours out. Again, this is very far out. So don't tell your grandpa, your uncle, and your brother that there's going to be a winter storm on the middle of February in the deep south. This is just for fun looking at this weather model, okay? So don't be saying, hey Charlie, come over here and look at this. This is going to happen. No. This is not a forecast, folks. This is me simply looking here at the fantasy runs of the GFS and European model, okay? Look at the southeast for the GFS if this happened. Oh my goodness. This would be another major blockbuster snowstorm on the evening of February 12th. And then you look at that same time frame, and it shows snow further into the southwest, but it still shows snow somewhere in mid-February coming down here into the southeast, which is intriguing. Oh no. What is going on with this model? See, this is why the GFS is just bonkers, man. This is why the GFS is bonkers. Look at the GFS model, okay? So we got this winter storm right now in the Carolinas. And according to the GFS, there could be another chance of some snow in North Carolina going maybe to the middle of the week, some flurries. More snow, maybe closing in on the Smoky Mountains of western North Carolina going into next weekend. Ice storm, cold air damming, maybe mid-Atlantic going in toward the 10th. And then watch this doozy of a winter storm. If it did pan out, it's not, it's going to change, okay? But this is insane that it's showing it. 1 snowstorm for the Carolinas. 2 snowstorms for the Carolinas through the middle of February. And dare I look at this? Oh my goodness. Stop this. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Look at the GFS model. Look at the GFS model. What a fantasy run that would be. Oh my Lord. Stop. There's not going to be 55 inches of snow in North Carolina between now and the middle of February. Stop, GFS. Quit it. Stop it. Stop it. This model's so bad. It's so bad. This is what I'm talking about, guys. There's not going to be no 55 inches in Charlotte. There sure ain't going to be no 40 inches in Columbia or 35 inches in Atlanta. what the heck is going on? And oh my, come on. People are using this model. Oh, I can't do it. Remember like a week ago, I don't know if you guys have been around to see if any other YouTubers showed this or anything. I know I haven't because it was a stupid run. It really was. It showed the Ohio Valley, like Cincinnati, getting like 80 inches of snow with one storm, the GFS model, and then like the very next run, you saw nothing but white. The white means no snow. So like it went from 80 inches on say like the 18Z into the 0Z. It showed nothing. The very next run, like 4 hours later. Like, just stop this GFS model. My goodness. What a useless model in the wintertime. This model's just so bad. I'm sorry. I just can't. I mean, I can't say there won't be another winter storm in the Carolinas, but to say there's going to be 60 inches in the central part of North Carolina, oh, just laughable. 55 inches. We can dream. Yeah, exactly, right? We're just hanging out at this point. Should I rename my live stream to the GFS Fantasy Runs? LOL. Thank you, Educated Redneck, for the $5 super chat. What's the chance of the dry slot happening in just south of Raleigh? And if so, how much? It'll cut down the totals by a couple of inches. If it starts sooner, then there's going to be more snow. Not the 55 inches of snow I'm showing on the screen now. That's not going to happen. No, but in all seriousness,
here's a big update on this weekend's powerful winter storm. There's been an interesting change regarding the moisture field that could impact amounts. What we're looking at right now, the infrared satellite in the moisture field here, you can see this moisture stream of the Gulf here, and then you got some more out here out in the Tennessee Valley. There's a gap in between, but that will start to fill in throughout the day on Saturday, and it will start to resemble that powerful comma head appearance that you get in those snowstorms. We've got a big time winter storm warning here for southern Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Northeast, Georgia, and eastern portions of Tennessee there. And now it's time to look at how this big storm could evolve over the next several hours here. You're looking at overnight here, you see this precipitation band right here. You see one out here in the Atlantic Ocean, one in the Gulf there, and a little band of snow breaking out here in the early morning hours in eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina. Watch as we get into Saturday morning here. So we'll get Saturday morning at 6 a.m. This moisture stream starts to creep to the northeast. You got another one out here, and then that snow really starts to pick up in northeast Georgia, northwest parts of South Carolina into eastern Tennessee, and western North Carolina, Johnson City, Knoxville, Greenville, and Charlotte. Starting to get some snow there. These two pieces of moisture are going to start to merge and suck into this low. So this is Saturday around 3 p.m. This is when the show is going to start to seem like a snowstorm now. You got that tail of moisture. That tail is eventually going to get wrapped around. So most of Carolina getting into snow all the way down to maybe even Columbus, Augusta, Atlanta, and then further north with some pretty heavy snow coming down in moderate to heavy snow in Charlotte. The heaviest snow of this event is going to be just to the northeast of this low pressure system. There's drier air out further west. The best dynamics in lift are going to be right around where that tail is and that wraparound precipitation. That would mean eastern portions of North Carolina, Jacksonville, will be under the gun for the heaviest snow. As we go towards Saturday night, this is around 7 p.m. or so. That's when this bomb cyclone starts to deepen, 7 p.m. to about 3 a.m. Sunday morning. You can see thunderstorms getting kicked into this thing. Lots of moisture to work with. So moderate snow all the way down through Georgia into North Carolina. Raleigh, you'll notice, dealing with some dry air, which I'll go over in a second. But this central portions of North Carolina have to be watched for some drier air activity kicking into this thing. As we get towards around 1 a.m. or so, you can see this is when this thing's going to be at max capacity. We're seeing some very dark and light colors here, very heavy snow bands, thunderstorms right here, thunder snow right northeast of it. So it's going to be imperative where this thing tracks. If this thing were to track just slightly to the northeast, that will raise totals pretty substantially for the eastern portions of North Carolina. But nonetheless, still significant snow coming down in the extreme eastern portions of North Carolina, Jacksonville. Light snow to the west, but you'll notice how quickly that drops off. That's due to dry Arctic air slamming in behind this thing very quickly, and that low pressure system's wrapping up so quick that it's really just a really small, tight surface area. As we head towards Sunday, this is around 6 a.m., this thing continues to move to the northeast. Still very powerful, but you'll notice that dry air kicking in for most of this area and that storm track just off the coast. So it will pretty much graze the rest of the northeastern United States. And then throughout the day Sunday, that thing's gone. There's two big wild cards that could change this event. One that is relatively new here. You're looking at Saturday at about 6 a.m. This is the mid-level moisture. So this is the main moisture fueling the precipitation for this storm system. And you can see a nice belt here at 6 a.m. of significant amounts of moisture. That's near 100% relative humidity. But you'll see this little
Hubert, North Carolina
right
radar.
from about south central Virginia
Radar.
down into central
Radar,
North Carolina.
Hubert, North Carolina.
That's some dry air present there. And when there's mid-level dry air, there's usually going to be less precipitation.
Radar, Hubert, North Carolina.
So this could impact snowfall amounts for parts of Virginia and Central Carolina, North Carolina, and that could lower totals just a bit. But as you go towards Saturday night about 7 p.m., you can see that starts to fill in. So there is a little bit more moisture down there. You see the main dry slot in this low pressure system, essentially near the center. That's not going to affect the Carolinas too much. It'll be this dry pocket that I talked about. And then as we head towards Sunday around midnight, you see this dry arc right here. There's a lot of dry Arctic air behind this thing, and it starts to punch into the central parts of North Carolina and Virginia. As we go towards Sunday at about 6 a.m., that dry air is really cranking into this thing. So once that dry air really cranks, this low pressure system starts to crank, that's going to get wrapped around and start to shut off the snow for most of the southeast here. And then Sunday at about noon, you can see that dry air is all the way wrapped in. That snow is gone out into the ocean. Another wild card factor to look for is thunder snow. So thunder snow can actually enhance totals by 1 to 3 inches sometimes, depending on how long you're in that band. But you can get 1 to 3 inch per hour rates, some flashes of lightning. We're looking at the 700 millibar, the mid-level lift in the atmosphere. So we were looking at moisture, now we're looking at the lift. How fast is that rising motion? This is at Saturday at 7 p.m. And these brightly blue colored areas indicate very strong lift. Most of those are out in the ocean. However, you do see a blip from time to time when I was looking over the data in southeast North Carolina. Some decent area out here in east North Carolina as well, and northeast South Carolina. That could indicate a thunder snow or two, which, you'd see a flash of lightning, snow, and maybe enhanced snowfall rates. But with these, they're very small bands, so you won't be under them long, and they're very scattered, and likely that you wouldn't exactly get under one. So those are a little bit harder to forecast, but you can see that enhanced snowfall amount right over that thunder snow band, and then enhanced snowfall in northeast North Carolina as well. This is the lightning flash density, and you can see it's enhanced over there where those thunderstorms were. And then a little bit of the lightning flash density in northeast North Carolina and down here as well, which can indicate maybe a flash of lightning once or twice per hour. So that'll be something to watch as well. Taking a look at the wind threat here and the blowing snow, we're looking at Saturday here at 9 a.m. Watch this little zone here. This is the low pressure system, and you can see winds around it 20 to 30 miles per hour. You go into the Carolinas, it's 10 miles per hour or so. But watch what happens is the bomb cyclone that has been making news here. Watch what happens as we get towards around Saturday at 7 p.m. This thing really starts to crank, and those winds start to really blast 40 to 50 miles per hour. And you'll notice it grazes the coast. So winds might go up to 20 to 30 miles per hour with some gusts to like 35 to 40 miles per hour. So maybe some temporary conditional blizzard conditions extremely close to the coast. As we go towards Sunday morning, okay, this is right around midnight Sunday, we'll say, this low pressure system really starts to crank, but it's moving east of the coast by then. So that wind field might just graze the coast or be just east by just a little bit. The winds are going to show up a little bit stronger over the ocean waters. However, you can see winds gusting up to 50 to as much as 70 miles an hour in that thing, maybe a gust even higher, almost hurricane force. So it's like a little mini hurricane out there around the waters there. And then you got this area up here very close to the coast.
Peace out,
You
y'all.
can see some 40 plus 45 mile an hour gusts from time to time.